Well, I'm not from the South. Came from Colorado, drove to Georgia for an internship. They just happened to call me first. I applied all over the place because I had a degree from botany from the University of Vermont. I was applying to places in Colorado, and they said, well, you need some experience to get a job. And I said, well, I need a job to get experience. They said, well, go to this board in Fort Collins, Colorado State University. And I went and I saw these places to apply to. And Hawaii, I wanted some exotic places. And Georgia, that was exotic. It was in the South. And I applied to all these botanical gardens since I had a degree in botany. And Callaway Gardens called me first, so I drove my 81 Celica across the country, and I noticed as I was coming down, I went through Alabama, back out of Alabama, Tennessee, then Georgia. It was a weird nook right there at Chattanooga, but I got down to Callaway, and I was introduced to a native mammal that I had never seen because I didn't live in the South. It was a possum, and I happened to kill him on the road. And I was like, oh my goodness, a visitor down here, and I run over a possum. But I was at Callaway and Gardens in Georgia, and I did that internship. And Georgia, I don't know, there was, I went through Georgia, I saw it, but I had never been to Alabama. And growing up in the North and the West, you hear stories, the civil rights stuff, and I had this image of the South that probably wasn't correct, but it's just what I had in the back of my mind. I saw cotton fields, I saw plantations, I saw not what I saw when I actually came for an interview at the Anniston Museum of Natural History. And when I drove through 431, coming across the line up through Cheehaw, it just took me back to Vermont, where I got my undergrad, and Colorado. The mountains are beautiful, and I said, "Wow, Alabama is such a rich place." And the South, being a botanist, was a rich place to me because the flora was so diverse and it was so understudied because most of the work had been done in the Northeast. So I was thrilled when I came to Alabama to see the diversity of the habitats. And I find out later it's one of the richest places in the nation with its biodiversity. So for a naturalist person like me, it was the best place to be. And I was just thrilled to get the job at the Anniston Museum that I just saw on this board. And I thought, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to apply. I'm just an intern. But for some reason, I was chosen to go to the Anniston Museum. Didn't know I'd make Alabama my home. I thought I was going back to Colorado a little later. But I ended up having children and settling down in this great state of Alabama. Yeah.
So, this is about the book. So, out of all of the botany that State Alabama has to offer, there was clearly a void in the world of ferns. What led you to narrowing your very broad interest to ferns?
Well, here's the fern book, by the way, right here. You can get closer with that. Well, I'm not just into ferns. I'm into all the plants. I'm into everything. And the ferns, I just happened to start working on the ferns because it's usually the first group you work on. But I had done the gymnosperms. I've done work on the monocots. But this was just the first group I had done. But Beth Motherwell of the University of Alabama Press wanted to start this nature series, Goss Nature Series, on different groups of animals and plants in Alabama. It was a great idea, like an Audubon guide series. And she approached me, was at the museum, and she had known, I already had published scientifically on the ferns. I was moving on. I was done with ferns, I was moving on to other things. But she wanted to redo Blanche Dean's book, Ferns of Alabama, and asked me to do a book. And be honest with you, I didn't want to put a lot of work into it because I'm busy with everything else. And I had already done the research. I had published it. I had illustrations. I had maps. But it was just Northeast Alabama. And I knew another guy, Jack Short, the co-author, and he knew all the state. And so we combined our knowledge, and it was really easy to write. I had already written all the stuff, but I had to add some more ferns. And so it was just easier for me to do that. Now my next book, I might do Weeds of Alabama. I don't know. But this is not my primary love, but ferns are fantastic, right? As my bumper sticker says.
And just to think that all of the work that you've done, I mean, there's an inch-thick book right there. Right. And to think you probably have another foot or two in your head, it's kind of cool. Well, and in your files.
Yeah, in the files. You only can put so much in. But this is a field guide, and I'm into interpreting nature so people can understand it. You can get into technical language. We bring it down here, and I love field guides, but sometimes the field guide just has illustrations. Some of them have photographs. Well, I said, in my field guide, you're going to have illustrations and you're going to have photographs. So I got some great photographers to help me out. I had an illustrator at the museum, Mary Montgomery, who'd worked there for years, just a receptionist who had done my illustrations. Well, she was gone at that time, so we got some other person to fill in the rest of the state. But it wasn't that many more ferns to do because Northeast Alabama is really rich.
Yeah.
So
what's the most, I mean, I know the answer to this, but I don't specifically. What is the most rewarding part of your profession as an environmental educator in Alabama?
Well, I work a lot with children, and I think, seeing them excited and enthusiastic about nature, because they're the ones going to inherit the planet, and just to get them excited about nature, get them thrilled, and because they're going to carry the baton, and that's the most thrilling thing for me, is to get children excited about the environment, about the world around them, because there's so much competition these days with cell phones and all these electronic gadgets. But if you can grab their attention with nature, because I work with animals, and to get them to like eating plants, so there's someone in the future to take care of the planet for everyone else. So that's my biggest reward, to see the children, enjoy and learn.
So ultimately, it's a selfish motivation. I'm kidding.
Yes,
Save the earth.
Save the earth. It's our planet. It's the only, some people just don't realize it. But I love what I do. I'm thrilled every day. I don't want to retire. I'm never bored. There's so much to do and learn. And working in the Museum of Natural History, I get to do anything I want. But the main goal is public service at our place. We want people to that's our mission, is to enhance public knowledge, appreciation, and understanding of living things in their environments, and that is our goal. And I think we fulfill that, and I'm just a small part of doing a small part in as well as many other institutions like the Little River Canyon Field School, DeSoto State Park. We all cooperate together and work together to pass on that message to our children and to the adults too. Yeah. But anyway, I love what I do, period. I can't believe I get paid to do what I do. It's like, I should be really working, shouldn't I? They don't know that I like this. How
about, you want to mention the Botanical Garden? And will there be any focus on ferns at the Botanical Garden?
Yes, we have a new botanical garden that's in the works. It's in its infancy. It's named Longleaf Botanical Garden after our state tree, the longleaf pine. A lot of people don't know that's our state tree. And we're developing a community center into the Longleaf Botanical Garden Center. And this is great for, because it's an economic enhancement to the community. And we will have all sorts of types of gardens, and that will be an attraction to everyone. And it's great because it's in a complex of 3 museums: Anniston Museum of Natural History, Bourbon Museum, and then we have Longleaf Botanical Garden. And that offers something for everyone. We have recreational opportunities in the neighborhood with the Longleaf Mountain Wildlife Refuge. So it's just a wonderful thing. And I do love ferns, and of course I wrote the book, right? And we hope to have a fern glade so people can make it easy for people to come, and I'll probably do educational programs and walk, and they can see the native ferns. Of course, we'll have some exotic, but I am a person that does prefer natives to exotics, but there is a place for exotics. Our state wildflower is an exotic. A lot of states do that, the camellia, and thank goodness we named the oak leaf hydrangea as our state wildflower. So, but I'm excited about what this is going to do for our region, this new botanical garden, and it's going to be a boon to the economy, local economy, I'm sure. So
perfect. Yeah, all right. So this is somewhat self-serving, but I mean, the Anniston Museum of Natural History is kind of a similar place. But why do centers and facilities like that we both have, why are they useful?
Well, I mentioned earlier that they are useful in the sense they educate people about the world around them. And it's a place people can come and learn hands-on, not just read it in a book, but see it. And having a facility, especially Little River Canyon, in such a, absolutely stunning place with the deepest canyon, east of the Mississippi to come and see that and have this place preserved, but you have an area where people can, it's like a mecca where they can come and congregate and learn what to see. Go see that endangered green pitcher plant. Go see, the rare wildflowers of the wildlife. But it's institutions like this that we need that help preserve and teach people about the world around them. And I was part of the field school back when it first started, when I was a graduate student at JSU, and I was doing programs up here. And this was just a concept. Who thought that you would have this beautiful facility with, visitors coming from all over to see it? And it was just a dream that just blossomed and came true. And we started out small, but it's just grown into something that everybody in the community just loves. And we appreciate what Pete Conroy, of course, has done to help initiate this and get it going. And he's not only involved in this, but I remember the Ladiga Trail. He just got an award recently for some of his accomplishments. But in this area, a boy from Asheville has come to Alabama and done what he's done. He was my mentor when I was at the Anniston Museum of Natural History. I looked up to him, still do, and I'm just amazed. And he continues to do it and make it happen, and I thank him for all his efforts. And I know he's been helping us at the museum and the gardens too. So.